So I kind of wanted to look at some of the first applications that were ever basically brought out for the app stores of our iPhones and eventually our iPads. But I wanted to specifically not only talk about the apps that came with our iPhone, but the games as well. And I tried to find the first ever iPhone game that ever came to the App Store, and I couldn't really get a concise answer. But after looking a couple of times, it looks like there were two different games. There were some other ones that claimed to be, but apparently from the numbers it looks like there were two. Now the first one being, this is an article from 2019, but also this article is from before. This is the first ever game sold on iOS is back on iPhones. So I read this article and it looks to be that Texas Holdem was the first game that was actually released on the App Store for iPhones, or one of the first games. To give you some perspective, when the App Store first came out, there were 500 different applications that came out with it. So this must have been one of the first of the 500 of those, that were apps, and then eventually less that were games. So if you go to the App Store and you type in Texas Holdem, not like that, but if you actually type in Texas Holdem, you can find one of the, first applications that ever came out. Now, right there where it says age, it says 17 years old. I genuinely do not know what that means because the App Store is not 17 years old and the iPhones aren't even 17 years old. So I don't even know how that works out. But if you do make your way over to this little, here's like what's new, whatever, and you click on version history, well, you can actually see that 13 years ago, this application came out. It says 1.0, and this app was established 13 years ago. And then it says, and this is the funniest thing, it says now Texas Holdem is even hotter with animating gesture created emotes, more statistics tracking, and unlimited buy-ins. But that was 13 years ago. There's an 11-year gap between the 13 years ago and the 2 years ago. So there was an 11-year difference from version 1.1 and version 2.0. So it does say eventually, Texas Holdem is back to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the App Store. We brought back one of its first games. So it's not the first game, but it does say one of its first games, which people have stated this is one of the first ones. So now I went ahead and downloaded it, and it's still at the top charts for some of these games, which is crazy. So when you go and open it, it is actually a Texas Holdem game. So if you've ever played Texas Holdem, I've never played Texas Holdem before, but you can see how basic some of these applications were back in the day. So you can see I can set single player, multiplayer, settings, statistics, and help. So if we go and click on single player, you can see standard game, but things look a little bit different because if you remember, this was updated a few years ago, and it keeps in that new gesture-based design in this new aspect ratio. Before, if you remember, the iPhone 8s and 8 Pluses and whatever, those actually had a home button, and since even the first iPhone, that aspect ratio was pretty much the same. It wasn't changed until the notch came out, with the iPhones. So now you can go and click here, you can go and play whatever you want to. Again, I have no idea how to play this game, so we're just gonna click here, we're gonna click here, whoever. Okay, I guess we can go and play like this, but I'm sure the graphics have been updated, things have changed, but the fact that this is one of the first games is crazy, and the graphics, from what I've seen here and what I've seen from the first iPhone game that came out, it looks to be pretty decent, which is pretty funny. So this is one of the first games that came out. There was another one that was called Lights Off, so it was this one right here. Now this one doesn't have as many ratings, so I didn't know if this was the actual one, but when I scroll down over here, and if I actually go ahead and clicked on version history down here, this one does say it came out 12 years ago, so the other one said 13, so I don't know if this is 100% the actual one, and the fact that not that many people download it makes me think that this may not be the actual one, because it's, if there were only 500 applications back in the day, I'm sure everyone was downloading every single application, so this would have had like 30,000 downloads anyway. So those are a few of the first iPhone games that ever came out. I've already talked about the first iPhone apps, but this is pretty wild. I'm kind of interested in it. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.